sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. Best soccer show, North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, send-off series, game number 2, United States, Turkey, Red Bull Arena. It should be loud. It should be exciting. It should be interesting to watch from an American perspective. Jared, we have a lineup.
Yeah, I think you see Jurgen Klinsmann kind of expanding off some of the things that worked in the second half of the Azerbaijan game by kind of overhauling the left side of midfield. Obviously, Clint Dempsey was always going to come in for Wondolowski, no shock there. But the Brad Davis start over Alejandro Bedoya, the industrious, if not effective, Alejandro Bedoya in the first Azerbaijan game, and Timothy Chandler in for Marcus Beasley. I think this might be just a straight-up improvement about playing a more offensively competent team.
There are a couple of things that people are talking about. We're going to open up our phone lines, 201-430-2378. You're free to get in. Give us your thoughts, what you make of this team, because the things that people are talking about are the fullbacks being not flipped necessarily, although Fabian Johnson more suited to playing on the left side than Timothy Chandler. So that's interesting. That's disconcerting if you're the type of person who wonders about that. And then Brad Davis getting the start as you mentioned, in the place of Alejandro Bedoya, but a guy that I don't think anybody saw as recently as 3, 4, 5 months ago, being a guy who could make a start potentially in a World Cup. I mean, we have to take this as a signal that Klinsmann trusts him enough that may happen.
Yeah, you're not going to put him in this game, which is a very important game, 2 games out from the World Cup, unless you feel he's potential to actually start there. So I think that Timothy Chandler at left back thing is more if I asked you to choose between Fabian Johnson and Timothy Chandler, who's the more offensively competent fullback? Which one are you going to pick?
I think they both bring a certain element of that.
You don't think Fabian Johnson's a better going forward than Timothy Chandler?
I think it depends on if we're talking about as a fullback. No, I think probably Timothy Chandler is just as good, if not better.
I'm going to disagree, and I think that's why he ends up flipping these 2 players. I think that Jurgen Klinsmann sees Fabian Johnson as the more competent attacker as well, and that's why you put him on the side that Graham Zuzi's on, who's going to come into the middle more rather than play out wide. There's room for Fabian Johnson to contribute more to the attack, whereas Timothy Chandler won't have that same room because Brad Davis is going to tend to play wider. Yeah, I think that's why you see these 2 guys flipped.
Okay, well, maybe. Obviously, if you're playing Brad Davis, who's going to play wider, and then you should have some room inside of him for Timothy Chandler, who is a right-footed player.
Cut in on his right, yeah.
Cut inside. No, it's still weird. It's still weird. I mean,
the weird part is that Brad Davis is starting.
That's the weird. Yes, that is certainly the weird part. And you have not always been the biggest fan of one Mr. Bradley Davis.
Not always, and continue.
You are the hater.
I'm sorry, you can't tell me that Landon Donovan wouldn't be a better starting left midfielder for the U.S. national team than Brad Davis.
No, I can't tell you that. I will. I'm going to have to go to the wall.
Klinsmann can tell me that, I guess, but I can't.
There's a small chance that Brad Davis and I are related way, way, way back. So maybe I should have to. I need to defend.
Try to get some of that sponsorship deal you got or something.
714, you're on the air.
Hi there, it's Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Well, I was watching the Mexico game yesterday with Luis Montes. I just pray something like that doesn't happen on this game.
That is the other thing. That's the other thing that people have to be thinking about today, Jared. It's been a disaster around the world. I think I'm trying to catch up here, but I think Franck Ribéry just picked up an injury that may keep him out of the World Cup as well.
Germany is I think holding 3 injuries to their biggest. Neuer may not be able to go. You have Schweinsteiger injured. You have Philipp Lahm injured. Granted, they have the horses and the depth to replace a lot of those guys, but Neuer's a huge miss if they don't get Neuer healthy in time.
We're here to talk USA Turkey, but if we're talking Germany,
it matters. US is going to play them.
I know. Sami Khedira is getting a start in that game. And he's not 100%, so I don't know.
He was good enough to start the Champions League final. I'm sure he's good enough to start in the national game.
Effective in that game. You got anything else, Frank?
No, that's enough.
Appreciate it. Yeah, everybody cross your fingers. Frank puts us on a good point here. Everybody cross your fingers. Hope that we don't have any injuries. Knock on some wood here. 734, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going? This is Chase. Maybe played Genuine a couple months back. Soccer morning. Anyway,
thanks, man.
I was wondering. Yeah, no problem. Anything I can do for the show. So obviously Donovan over Davis seems like a good idea. But do we have any other left-footed players in the pool that we can call on to step in for Brad Davis?
Julian Green, good enough to start. I mean, if he's good enough for the team, he needs to be good enough to start, right?
Julian Green? Okay. The only other left-footed player that comes to mind is a guy who played himself out of contention or didn't play at all and ended up getting dropped for contention for this team, and that's Breck Shea.
Yeah.
I thought he was asking on this team.
Let's say is I don't know how Timmy Chandler is as a fullback. I think this is the 6th time we've seen him play, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, look, this isn't Timmy Chandler's played left back before for the United States. He has. It's happened before. I don't think we all sort of cognitive dissonance. We all sort of forget that, or we want to flip them, particularly because Fabian Johnson has played well on the left side, and we don't have a left back.
There's a duck in my pool.
Well, okay, that's an interesting try. Chase, you got anything else, man?
No, that's it, man.
I appreciate it. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you later. 3-5.
This doesn't happen in California.
I'm sorry that you're. Stop looking at the damn duck. Okay?
Sorry.
Yeah, we're here to talk about soccer. We're here.
Get to the chopper!
To cover this team. 352. You're on the air. Who's this?
Do you still have that collar on?
No. We're back. Brief technical interruption. Matt on Twitter, Jared, says the duck killed Skype.
I'm telling you, dude, you seeing a duck in your pool is not a good sign.
Is
like
that
a horse in your bed?
Wait, is that a bad omen? Like for real? Like is that something that's like down history? A duck in your pool means you're gonna get bad luck? Because I
think there is a duck in our pool. His name is Julian Green. He's in our pool, and I don't understand it.
Don't get why Julian Green's in the pool. All right. 201-430-2378. Now that we are back and rolling, we were talking about this lineup. It is throwing some interesting quirks into the mix. For the most part, it's everybody you would expect, except for Davis and perhaps the fullback situation. But I think if we're being honest with ourselves about who are the best fullbacks in the team, Fabian Johnson and Timmy Chandler are the best fullbacks.
You can make the case that Jeff Cameron maybe should be one of the two fullbacks, but if you're going to play him in the center, then yes, you got probably your two best defensive fullbacks in the game right now. But it's interesting. I don't know why, but for some reason my DVR must have missed one of did two inside episodes come out this week on ESPN?
Thursday, yes.
Okay, so my DVR didn't pick up that one, so I just watched it right now before the game, and I had no idea. I didn't see anything about Jurgen Klinsmann admitted prior to the Azerbaijan game that the legs were going to be tired, and then all this stuff, and that's why you put the kind of the simple game up front, because he had every intention of running these guys extremely hard into that game, and it absolutely. I mean, I think everybody picked on it watching that game. So I'm really looking forward to this game. Couple days, I'm sure they haven't gone nearly as hard on him the last couple days. I want to see what the diamond looks like. I want to see all this different stuff with proper rest.
Okay. By the way, this is a good point. The duck thing, a Sopranos reference, because Tony saw the ducks and then he had his panic attack. It was the whole thing. And they were in Jersey, too, so it all works out. Like,
hey, you're dressed like a soprano. I'm seeing a duck in our pool.
What? I'm wearing a track jacket. What the hell? I'm dressed like a soprano. What are you talking about?
Yeah, come on. It's kind of you look like you should be on like a no work job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. 201-430-2378. Give us your lineup thoughts. I have a question for you, Jared. And this is a friendly. We want to see progress. We want to see better play. We want to see goals. We want to see run of play goals. I want to see some of that. I want to see how Clint Dempsey does, certainly. But considering the questions that we have in this team, why are you flipping the fullbacks? Why are you starting Brad Davis? Why did Landon Donovan not come in? I want to ask you a question. If you had Jurgen Klinsmann in an interrogation room and he had been given truth serum, he had been given truth serum or something, you could guarantee that he told you the truth, because we know he likes to do a dance when he answers questions. If you could guarantee that he was going to tell you the truth, what 3 questions would you ask him? And you only get 3. So it's like a genie and a wish thing.
I would ask him, was there quid pro quo for Julian Green's name on the dotted line?
It's a good question.
Was he guaranteed anything to come to this to come play for the U.S.? I would ask, is the Martin Chavez release have anything to do with Jurgen Klinsmann's intention not to bring Landon Donovan?
Good question. I like that one as well.
And then I would ask him what Lothar Matthäus looked like in the shower, because that dude just looks like he's making up for something. Okay,
I don't even want to. I guess you had to throw one in, right? You couldn't go straight with all of them. You had to throw one curveball in the mix.
Yeah. Okay. What are you gonna ask him?
Well, okay. The quid pro quo on Green is a good question. I don't even think that came into my mind first. My first question would be, was Landon Donovan left off the roster because of a personal conflict between you and him? Just to get that cleared out, opened up. Number 2, I would ask him why he is playing Timothy Chandler on the left, a right-footed player on the left. And Fabian Johnson's a right-footed player as well, but he's much better with his left foot than Timothy Chandler is. I'd ask him about that. And I'd ask him why Josie Altidore maintains his place despite his lack of scoring.
I think last one's weak. You should have gone with something heavier.
You took 2 really good ones, so I can't ask those. I can't ask the same questions. It'd be a waste.
I mean, listen, I went after a dude's junk. I mean, you could have come up with something.
That's your gig. It's not my gig.
I know, but it's just odd that you can even think of 3 pretty hard. It's kind of a sign of Jurgen Klinsmann's secrecy, and I don't know. He's got his own style. I think with Bob Bradley, people question what Bob Bradley did, but I think he was pretty out in front about the reasons why he would do things. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I would say that's mostly fair. I also 541, you're on the air. We got our connection back up. No video now, but you just get our voices. 541, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Casey from Oregon.
Hey,
Thanks for
Casey.
taking my call.
What's up, man?
Hey, I'm looking at 3 players today that need to step it up. Brad Davis, Matt Beasler, and Timothy Chandler. But I like Chandler a lot better at right back. He's better at it. But I'm excited for this game because I think Jurgen's going to give us a good challenge. And Beasler and Davis need to step it up for me today.
Wait, but Casey, you say you like Chandler right back. One of the only times we've seen Timothy Chandler right back in a high-profile game was the Honduras game where he was absolutely terrible. So what makes you feel that he's so much better on the right?
Well, I've watched him in the Bundesliga, and I've seen him cut in and score a few goals, and I've also seen Fabian Johnson combine with Elfidor and Clint Dempsey very good on the left. And I think Chandler is stronger on the right. And that game against Honduras was really humid. They were just playing in cold Germany. But I think Chandler can handle it on the left and stuff. And I think it makes sense that Brad Davis might be a little slower, and a Davis and Beasley both on the left can get exposed against a fast team like Ghana or Portugal.
All right, Casey. Appreciate the phone call, man. Thanks a lot. All right, so I'm a little flustered because of the technology issues, but we're steaming ahead. We've got a couple of minutes left until this game gets underway on ESPN2. 201-430-2378 is the phone number. Somebody did ask for this.
I was born in Mobile, Alabama. I can say Mobile, Alabama.
That's pretty good.
There you go. There's your Mobile, Alabama drop from Mr. Aaron Johansson. I also have this, Jared.
I am Mikkel Morsen and Paulson Diskerud.
So
yeah, that's a mouthful, dude.
Yeah, I can't even begin.
Can you blame the guy for going with mix?
No, not at all. And I wonder when he hears Americans say mixed Diskerud.
Can I digress for one moment on a mixed Diskerud point?
Sure.
If it's true that David Villa and Frank Lampard are now going to NYCFC, does that mean that you can still get Mikhail Diskerud or Josie Altidore? Are they in danger? They got one DP slot left. First of all, if you're bringing Josie, he has to be a DP, right?
Yes.
Mikhail Diskerud, can you get him for non-DP level money?
No, because it was attempted and it didn't happen. Not
so
attempt-
if you're NYCFC,
Sorry.
which one of those two are you bringing back?
Actually, what I meant to say is it was attempted to get him in as a DP and it didn't work out. Now, why it didn't work out is sort of up in the air, but we know that Timbers made a play for mixed Diskerud. I think it's going to take DP money. And you're going to, at this point, now that he made a World Cup team, you can sort of justify it much more than last year when maybe the Timbers made a run.
Okay, so if you're NYCFC and you bring one of those two Americans in for a DP level contract, who are you bringing in?
Probably Altidore. I mean, you need a frontline guy. You got Frank Lampard. He's not going to be your playmaker necessarily, but he is a box-to-box guy that can probably do pretty well in this league.
A big body to play off of David Villa?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, another guy. Yeah, let David Villa sort of buzz around.
But you got to think though too. If you bring in Mikhail Diskerud, Frank Lampard's a pretty nice guy of a holding midfield to have behind a guy that be really think how freed up Mikhail Diskerud would be playing in front of Frank Lampard.
Is that really how you want to play? I mean, look, I don't. No, but nothing guarantees that.
Jason Christ loves the diamond.
Yeah, but I was just reading about the diamond recently, and I can't remember where it was, and I apologize for whoever wrote the piece. But you look at the diamond and you hear Jason Christ talk about it. And what he says is that the reason he went to the diamond at RSL is because they didn't have any wide midfielders to do any other system, or there wasn't a better system for the personnel. That's the system that matched the personnel. It's not that he's married to it in some philosophical sense and he's always going to play a diamond. So NYCFC could play something different. They could play something closer to what Manchester City play, although I don't think he's necessarily going to take his cues from them. But if you have Diskerud and Lampard, I suppose they could work. I mean, I'm sure they could. They're both very good players. But doesn't that kind of hide Lampard in a league where you want him to be
a little bit? But Lampard himself has said he's getting older, and he's talking about he can't do this forever. So maybe you get more years out of Frank Lampard if you give him a more defensive role.
Okay. Well, I think that would end up meaning that if they had Mix and they had Lampard and they had David Villa, that would mean that Manchester City ends up playing without a classic defensive midfielder, and that just isn't done in this league. Just not done. Who in this league plays without a solid, committed defensive midfielder? I don't.
Chivas.
Chivas doesn't? Oh, saying the ineffective is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I guess there's not that many teams out there that do. Yeah, there's plenty of teams that have the defensive one. They don't have the creative one in front of them, though.
Well, yeah, this league lacks for 10s. That's certainly true. All right, so we're talking USA Turkey, and now we're getting to the point where kickoff's only 10 minutes away or so. We want to know what you're looking for out of this game. Azerbaijan is done. You can put that aside. You can, you're not going to carry a lot from that game because of the conditions in San Francisco, because of the fact Clint Dempsey sat out with this groin tweak, because it was coming out of a long camp, and we talked about the heavy legs. So what do you want out of this game?
I want Trevor Hayward to make a infographic for me that's Jay Rodis' keys to the game, although like what ESPN does. So here's one of my keys to the game. Right. Energy. I need to see energy. That's what I lacked in the last game. Alejandro Bedoya aside, I don't think we had saw anyone that consistently put out a lot of energy in that first match. I want to see that in this one. I want to see guys first to the ball, challenging the high pressure on the ball, challenging for second balls. That's what I want to see. With a midfield that has Bradley and Jermaine Jones in it, second ball shouldn't be an issue. Okay, fair enough. That's the Jay Rodius keys to the game. We could call it something better than that. Something better. It's off the top of my head. I know. I understand that. We'll ask the people then. Come up with a clever name for Jay Rodius' keys to the game that isn't keys to the game, because that's played out. Yeah, it's so played out. It's like power rankings. Yes. Well, okay. You say that, and never mind. I won't even go down that road. All right. So, what's your key to the game? What's my key? I don't have a. What's the thing you're looking for out of this game most of all? Chances. I mean, if Josie Altidore makes 5 chances and scores 0 goals, you're okay with that? I feel better. I'll feel better about things than I did when they came. I'd rather Josie Altidore create 1 chance and score it. Okay, for that specific player, maybe that's true. Okay. But I want to see some team. I want to see some team attack. I want to see them create chances through passing, through proper movement, through utilizing space, through finding the cross at the right time if that's the best option. I want to see what Graham Zusi does. I want to see what Brad Davis does. I'd like to see Michael Bradley. If Michael Bradley is going to be this guy at the top of a diamond, and we're committed to this, and they're going to go to the World Cup, and they're going to play this way, not only does he have to be a two-way player, and we covered this against Azerbaijan, it's going to be even more important today. He's got to make the final pass. He's got to be the guy that creates the chances for the 2 players ahead of him. I'd almost like to see Bob Bradley, Jurgen Klinsmann, go at this a different way with his guys. Tell Jermaine Jones, listen, no matter what, I'm subbing you in the 60th minute. You leave everything you have on the field for 60 minutes. In every game, I'm planning to bring Mikhail Diskerud in for the last 30 and move Michael Bradley into the defensive portion of the field. That way, Jermaine Jones, you saw him tire way down the stretch. Now, granted, that could have been practice, but he looked like he tired more than anyone else on that field. Why not give him complete freedom to say, listen, you're playing a 60-minute game, leave nothing out there. I think are we getting anthems right now? I don't have my volume up, so I'm not sure what's going on. I know American Outlaws the fans are going to sing the anthems. The guy has a scarf that says Hella United. It says Hella United? Yeah. You dig that? They're still in the locker rooms. There's somebody out there. Okay, yeah, they are. There's somebody out there with a SEAL Team 6 jersey, which I just think is crossing a little bit of a line. I think that's a little over the top. You can't have a special. You can't have any special team stuff going on in here. SEAL Team 6. Oh man, I don't know. That's get out, get in. Look, there's a line for this America stuff, and sometimes we're not playing Pakistan. No, we're not. But it's still questionable. Let me just say it's still questionable. I'm all about the USA. We've got maybe we'll close out here. They're still getting ready to come out of the tunnel. Maybe we'll close out here with the new Brendan Steinecker chant song thing. Whatever we're calling that. What are we calling that? Chant? Yeah, I'll say song. I think it's it's got melody. It's a song. If anybody doesn't know Brendan Steinecker, he is the famous RSL fan. What's the band? I always forget, Jared. Drummer for Rancid. Rancid. Okay, he's the drummer. Not the original drummer, but he's the drummer now. He's the current drummer for Rancid. He came up with the RSL chant that you've all heard. They play it after every single goal. It's pretty cool. I like it. I mean, I think it's a little bit. It takes some of the fun out of it if it is played and everybody sings along. I'd like to be spontaneous and a cappella, if you will. But he's done a version for the United States, or done a similar type of thing for the United States, and it's not bad. I could dig it. I don't know if the fans are going to learn it quick enough for it to become a thing, Jared. I think a 10-hour flight from the AO plane is well long enough for them to learn a song.
That's probably true. And they'll have plenty of practice singing it drunk as well.
Yeah, that could definitely comes into play.
All right, so we've talked about what we're looking for. We've talked about this lineup. You just hit on a couple of keys. You talked about Jermaine Jones and his role, Michael Bradley and his role. I mean, obviously, when you've got two forwards, you're not going to play with with two defensive midfielders with a double pivot. You're going to look for Jermaine Jones to be the guy to clean up those messes, to protect the back line. Hopefully, so Michael Bradley can play more forward against a team that's going to actually come at you a little bit in Turkey. This is the real test of this diamond, Jared. We haven't seen.
I'll say one more thing that you're looking for out of this game. Me personally, I want to see Matt Besler have a better performance. I think he's probably been the most consistent center back for the U.S. for the last year, but last game he really kind of looked out of it a little bit. I want to see the communication and combination between he and Jeff Cameron to be consistent, and I want to see him in a good position, not have any mental lapses. I
want to see Matt Besler be smart with the ball. That was my only issue against Azerbaijan. Okay. That I had no problem with his positioning or his defense, and really they didn't do anything to put him under pressure. The only time he had issues was when he was trying to distribute the ball, and there were several bad passes. And if this team is going to play with an attacking mindset and press and put pressure on their opponents, and the quality of those opponents at the World Cup is excellent, they're going to need to be able to pass the ball out of the back. You can't.
Here's a tweet from Greener 105th. Davis is fine, but why not Beckerman over Jones? Hopefully, Kyle Beckerman gets to play the whole second half. And one person, I had one person kind of let me, someone that's given me pretty good information in the past, has said that one of the big things between conflicts between Jurgen Klinsmann and Martin Vasquez was Jurgen Klinsmann's continual use of Jermaine Jones over Kyle Beckerman. What do you think? I think Jones is just Klinsmann's guy. That's who we're going to see.
Yeah, I think on the whole, Jermaine Jones is a better soccer player than Kyle Beckerman. I wouldn't argue otherwise. The question has always been, is Kyle Beckerman better suited for that role for the United States? Is he a more disciplined, more appropriate choice? Because it's not always about the best player. If Jermaine Jones does the job he's asked to do, then I think you probably start Jermaine Jones. And that's no slight to Kyle Beckerman, who's an amazing. It's amazing that he's made the World Cup at 32 years old, that he is as good as he is.
I think one thing Kyle Beckerman does not have going in his favor is that Jermaine Jones has been that guy for 5 years. And Kyle Beckerman's had a couple of chances. He had a Gold Cup that Bradley wasn't in. And he's had a couple games here and there, a couple of qualifiers here and there, and friendlies to make his case. And I don't think he has enough of a resume for Jurgen Klinsmann to feel comfortable enough picking him.
All right, looks like we're getting the anthem sung by the crowd, unless I'm mistaken. So let's go ahead and get out of here. Let people go watch this game, USA Turkey. I'm going to go 2-1 United States, Jared.
I think it's a good result.
Okay, that's what you want to see. 2-1 to the United States. Clean sheet would be amazing. No injuries. None. Zero. None. No injuries, right? None. We don't want to see any injuries. None.
Of course not.
Well, actually, I'm going to go out with this chant from Steinecker. Here we go. See you guys at halftime.